Guess I'm a hypocrite. Honestly, it might be the best thing that ever happened to me. Welcome back to my channel. If you've never seen my face before, my name is Lauren. I am your resident intuitive baddie, and I'm here to talk about. I'm going to be unpacking this this one relationship for quite some time. Uh, I don't know what order I'm going to put these videos up in, but I got out of something. I got out of this month-long relationship, but it was like the fastest turnaround of something that I've ever gone through. It was like week one, honeymoon phase, week two, kind of settling, noticing some things, week three, what the fuck is happening? Why are we arguing every day? And then there was this break, and then there was one final blowout as I got rid of this man's luggage because he left it at my place. I think so that he could still have a connection to me. I don't know. But this video in particular has to do with hypocrisy. And one of the biggest things that I had learned out of that experience was there was still a part of me that gave a shit about what people thought. So, what pretty much sparked this was at the end of this relationship or whatever, he kept calling me indecisive and I couldn't let it go. So, why he was calling me indecisive was because we had spoken about splitting businesses. He had an idea to do an auto rental company, and if you know, I have a creative studio that I am on the journey of creating into a venue. And I'll admit, in the beginning, when he had asked me if I wanted a partner or support, I definitely miscalculated because I was in motherfucking La La Land. It was honeymoon phase. I was like, fuck yeah, I've always wanted my partner to want to be a part of what it is I'm doing. Let's be partners. But yeah, it wasn't fucking smart. Because it sparked a lot of, or it created a lot of friction because then I backtracked a little and I was just like, okay, wait a minute. We got to lay out these terms. I'm not willing to give up 50-50. I'm not willing to do 50-50 ownership. That doesn't make sense to me because I've been working on this for 10 years now, um, from concept to what it is now, which is a studio or like a small creative studio right now. Um, and yeah, he was pushing this idea to shift it into a audio recording studio because we have a music store that's right beside us, and yeah, it would have been easy to rent equipment. But the more that time went on and our communication it was clear that our communication wasn't great. His communication wasn't great. um I That's when I started to kind of take a moment and like pull back and be like, okay, wait, maybe this isn't the smartest thing to do this early on in the relationship. Maybe we separate the business aspect from this and then work on our communication skills and then yeah, just go from there. But yeah, he started to that, and then that's why he decided to walk away from the relationship and everything else because and he kept calling me indecisive and it kept bothering me, and it shouldn't have. It like it didn't warrant the reaction that I gave him because if you know me, I am a big believer that we are all mirrors for each other. And one of the things that I preach is the four agreements. The second agreement is to not take anything personally. And it's because we are all mirrors. When we are talking to somebody, or when somebody is talking to us and they point out something in us, really they are talking about something that they see in themselves because that's why they notice it in you, or that's why they're twisting the story, whatever. But if you agree with them, it's because there's a part of you that thinks that they're right, or that believes them to be right. So, where that probably is does have to do with my business, just not in the way that he was saying, because obviously that was the decision I had made to pull back was a very decisive decision, and it was very well thought out. But he was where I wasn't able to let go was I wasn't able to let go of the fact that he was painting this character of me being somebody who was more wishy-washy, or like yeah, I don't know, like somebody who wasn't sure of themselves, because he was talking about my the relationship with my ex as well, and me getting out of a marriage, and he was just like, yeah, you just seem like you're at a crossroads in your life, and you need to figure things out. And I was like, what? I was like, no, I'm very very fucking sure. I left my marriage. I'm not going back to that. We're great co-parents. I know exactly what I want to do with my business. It's not what you're trying to get me to do right now. um I definitely needed to be more audacious, more assertive, more outgoing about executing, but I know what I want to do. And what I'm recognizing as I'm unpacking this relationship, and I'm unpacking the patterns that I exhibited, or that were highlighted for me, that were still existed, that these are things that I have been working on, or that I did think that I eliminated, but like this relationship just really highlighted, is that I still have a fear of being labeled and indecisive, hypocrite, inconsistent. And I think that's these are labels that keep a lot of people locked. Like, one of the things that I had recognized very, like, almost immediately when I realized that I wanted to exit my marriage, was that that was how people were going to view me, that people were going to see or to think of me as somebody who couldn't, I don't want to say couldn't commit, I guess we'll say couldn't commit to the decision that they made, or just that I don't know, because I think a lot of people, when a lot of people leave a marriage, it's a lot of the times people see it as the person getting married and then just getting bored with the relationship. But um, yeah, if you've seen my story on, or if you follow me long enough, you know that like it was very much a self awareness thing, and that I recognized that there were things that I was ignoring, and um, there was a life I thought I wanted, and that there was a story I was creating in my head of what our relationship was, and it just didn't feel like that. And I wanted to be the best version of myself, and I couldn't do that when the person I was spending the most time with was somebody who didn't reflect the the version of me that I wanted to be, if that makes sense. Or it just like, yeah, it wasn't he wasn't somebody that was conducive to the person that I wanted to be. And yeah, I think it's very, like, why a lot of people that I tell in person typically reassure me that, like, I made a very mature, amicable decision, is because yeah, a lot of people aren't willing to say that they made a mistake. There, a lot of people aren't willing to. I think a lot of people have a fear that making the wrong decision or something, and then how do I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Okay, so it's just like we lock into a decision that a past version of us made. And there's this fear that that makes us somehow inconsistent or hypocritical, even though it was made at a time where we probably just had less information, or it was just a different mindset. And I think one of the most powerful things about my story, my specifically with my marriage, is just that you there is a point where you can say, I'm thinking of that example of like how if you're on the wrong train, the longer you stay, the more expensive it is to go home. It's one of those things where it's just like I think a lot of people who would have had that same realization that I had would have still stuck it out and stayed for a little bit longer, maybe got out later, or even I noticed this in a lot of people where, or I think a lot of people notice this, where there are people in relationships that are complacent, or they end up being more or less like roommates, or it's just like it's very clear they're wrong for each other, but they commit to it because of the fear of judgment. And, like that is something specifically with my marriage. That's something that when I was younger, I would always say, I'm only going to have one marriage. And it was because of the dynamic that my dad has displayed, where he has four kids, all different moms. I was very adamant that I was going to have this one perfect marriage. It was going to be a fairy tale. We're going to have the perfect child, and it was going to be a daughter. And that's what I'm saying, is that I got literally everything I wanted, but it didn't feel like how it should have. And it was because it was something that I was trying to force a narrative on, and not something that I had allowed to happen. And also, this is part of my path. Like, I was supposed to go through this, and I was supposed to be put in this position so that I could make this hard decision, so I could show people that it's okay. It's okay to course correct. It's okay to say I was fucking young and dumb and the decision I made, or the stance that I had back then, isn't correct for me now, or the person that I want to be now. And I think if more people allowed themselves to change their minds, a lot more people would be happier with the lives that they live, because they wouldn't feel locked into or committing to a life that's wrong for them. And another way that I exhibited this is even with this. Never, like 2 years ago, or like a year ago this time, I would not have considered that. You could have told me that, yeah, in a year from now you're gonna be making YouTube videos, even though um even though you're getting like not many views or whatever, and I would have been like, you're a fucking liar. Because there was a point in time where I thought that shit was like, I just I don't know, like I guess I was judgmental of people who put their lives online. I was judgmental of, even though I obviously watch people. Um I just never thought that could be me. I never thought I'd be the type of person to express myself and be on camera and be comfortable with it. But look, oh, where the fuck we are. You're looking at me. You're looking at me right now. I'm talking to you right now. In this current moment in my reality, I'm talking to a camera. Like, sometimes we say shit because we have a certain viewpoint, but what's so beautiful about life is that we have experiences, and then our perspective shifts, it expands, and then we can get more out of life if we allow it to expand. So, all this to say, there is a difference between somebody who preaches something and knowingly does the opposite, and then somebody who says something in one moment and then evolves and changes their actions because they're expanding, and one is hypocrisy, the other one is growth. And yeah, I think if you're watching this right now, whether this is you or this is somebody around you, yeah, don't mix up the two. Don't think that just because somebody had a really strong viewpoint at one point and then they changed it at another point, that that makes them a hypocrite. It makes them a hypocrite if they are actively doing the opposite of what they're saying in, like, in real time, whereas the opposite is like it was said in one moment, but actions changed because the viewpoint changed. Don't paralyze your future just because of a just because of a stance a past version of you had. I think that's it. That's the video. If you resonate with this, if this is something you feel like you need talking through, or you would like somebody to help reflect back to you where you might be exhibiting this in your life, or where you just might need help getting through that initial fear, because it wasn't easy. I will tell you, when I had first gotten separated from my ex, like, even though people understood why I was doing it and where I was coming from, there's still that notion that people will wonder if there's other reasons, or they'll come to certain other conclusions themselves if they hear it through a grapevine and not from you directly. And I guess I wasn't almost ended the video, but to kind of just like close that out, like, at the end of the day, you can't control other people's perceptions of you, because we all see through the world through a lens that is painted by our perspective, our experiences, our the environments we've been in, and how they view you is through their lens. So no matter how you present yourself, they're always going to have their filter on you. So all you can do is be as you as possible, and be happy with the version of you that you are in that moment. And if you realize something later down the line, course correct. Don't feel like you have to cater to the version of you that other people hold in their minds, because you're going to go crazy doing that, because you never can. Like, you can never fully take control of that. So yeah, if you need help getting through that, links in the description. I'm a life coach. If you didn't know, I have my email there, and just links to my socials if you want to follow me anywhere else. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, goodbye.